that, let's get right into it. First of all, so I'm going to just set up this call over here. I'm going to be interviewing Jay. Jay is from down under in Tasmania. And Jay has been in Amazing Marriage Blueprint. I think you joined. I know you joined on a Friday morning when my wife came back from a trip, but I don't remember exactly when it was. It's like 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago?
About 5 or 6 weeks ago, yeah.
Okay, cool. Got it. And what's really cool about hearing Jay's story, really anybody's story in Amazing Marriage Blueprint or the Fast Track is, you can hear a lot of theories when I talk about it in all my marketing. I talk about different ideas, but you actually see how it plays out in a real person's life. Jay is real. His wife is real. His kids are real. His challenges are real, and see what he did with it. There's something really powerful to learn from when you watch a real person's story. So first of all, Jay, thank you for taking the time and giving some feedback and really sharing with guys, on what happened in your personal life. So first of all, what was going on when you found me? Like, just a little bit of context. Is it a first, second marriage? Like, a little bit about who you are to whatever degree you feel comfortable.
Sure. Okay. So my second marriage, it was. My first wife passed away many years ago from a prescription overdose of medication. I remarried some years later. Was married for 7 years. Married for 6 years. It'll be 6 years on this Saturday coming. Everything started off great, as all marriages do. Everything was perfect and everything was great. Then the stresses of life and stresses of marriage took their toll. Myself not understanding me, not understanding my wife, led to eventually a rift. My wife unfortunately put down here what's called a domestic violence order out against me, even though there was no domestic violence. Our laws down here state that if a woman feels threatened or uncomfortable in her marriage or relationship, that she can apply for a domestic violence order.
That'll be the equivalent in America of a restraining order, and you don't need much of a reason to get that either. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I do understand why the laws are in place. I'm not sure what goes on over in America. I'm sure it's very much the same as here in Australia, but there are some horrible.
We're the same exact like you. We're the same exact like you. You just have better weather. That's all. But otherwise, we're the same. Yeah. So, what was going on? How long was this separation going on for? What type of contact or you did or didn't have? A little bit of like what would it look like if we were like watching you?
Okay. So the domestic violence order stated that I was not to see, harass, or be around Nolene, not to be within 50 meters of her.
Were you allowed to call her?
No, not allowed to call her. She was allowed to call me.
Double standard. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
What were the things you were stuck on?
Understanding what was happening with my wife, understanding what was happening with me prior to the separation.
When you say understanding, can you be like when you say understanding your wife, like what were you struggling with?
Understanding her emotions, understanding her outbursts, trying to understand what was leading up to what was coming. I could feel there was something not right. What I didn't know, I thought it was I honestly thought it was me. 2 weeks before the separation, I was hospitalized with excessive high blood pressure, on the verge of a stroke.
Wow.
Yeah, too much.
I didn't know all this. I thought I knew everything.
Yeah, no. Too much work. Not prioritizing was, from my point of view, not prioritizing.
So that's what you thought. You thought it was you.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, like, what caught your attention when you're watching, we have a lot of free trainings out there, master classes from me, Blueprint, all that. Well, how did you find me? What caught your attention? Like, what made you stop and take a second look at what was going on in your life?
The inner cat. The inner cat was the main one that really, it really triggered. Doctor patient.
No, 1 second. Doctor patient is something we talk about in the program. I'm talking about before you joined the program. Like, what did you see that I want to, like, you're going too fast over here. What
Sorry.
I want to help guys understand the process of like what
Yeah.
you've been through, and like, well, to see if they relate or not really. Like, what was it that you saw before you joined the program, before you reached out to me, before you said hello, anything, just from all that free content that I pour out there,
Yep.
to help and share with married men. What was it that what caught your attention? What made you feel that this might be the solution you needed?
The content of it, for lack of a better word, the precise nature of it, how it worked, how it would evolve. It wasn't just a one-time thing where somebody gives you some advice and you go away and use it. It was very concise, very targeted.
Okay, so you're probably referring to the marriage cancer diagnosis or the fundamentals and the symptoms.
Yes.
Like more the deeper perspective of, if I could just take a minute to explain it, because you're saying from your perspective, I want to help guys understand what Jay is saying. Correct me if I'm getting it wrong, Jay. What you're saying is that what you saw was that there was a much bigger picture when trying to heal a marriage. It's not just, okay, I have a problem. How do I solve it? I have a sex issue. I have a communication issue. I have a respect issue. How do I solve it? It's more about going deeper to the fundamentals and say, okay, what's causing all that? What's driving it? What's preventing my best efforts, my best intentions, right? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, the core problems.
The core problems, which virtually come down in one form or another. It comes down to marriage cancer, and there's different types of marriage cancer. And I want to ask you this question: which one was the strongest thing that made you feel, okay, I need this? Was it more like you felt like, okay, I have unconditional love for Nolene, but she doesn't feel it, so I want to know what's blocking my love? Or number two, was it, I don't see all the warning signs, like from all of those explosions or the outbursts, I don't see all the warning signs leading up to that? Or number three, like, she has the wrong image of me stuck in her head, which is not true. How did it get into her head? What am I doing that's feeding that wrong image? Like, which one of these three do you feel was like the most powerful for you in terms of like, I got to figure out what marriage cancer is in my life?
Personally, I'd say number one and number three.
It's hard to pick one, huh?
Okay, let's go number three.
And it's fine. It's fine. They are connected. They really are connected, and you're correct, because sometimes if your wife has the wrong image in her head of who you are, that itself will block her from feeling love.
Yes.
So you're 100% correct. Gotcha. Now, why did you pick that number three, or let's say number one and three together, whatever you want? Why did you pick those?
Number three because it wasn't a reflection of who I was or who I am.
What was the reflection?
How she was perceiving me.
How was she perceiving you?
As unloving, unconditional love. She didn't believe I had it. Not fronting up. Her not being my focus.
That's what she thought.
Yes.
Before we get to your experience, could you say what was the first aha moment you had once you joined the program?
Once I joined the program? Yeah. Inner cat.
Inner cat. Got it.
Inner cat, without doubt.
Inner cat. Now, for the guys who've never seen inner cat is essentially, and Jay, I'll take a minute to explain this. Inner cat essentially is getting to the core of, how does the other person see me? Does the other person see me like I'm legit, I'm authentic, or does the other person see me as insincere? Does the other person see me as selfish or manipulative? And basically, sometimes I'll talk about subconscious communication, and it's really the same exact thing. It's literally the same exact thing.
Yes.
Right? That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Subconscious communication is you dialing in Nolene's head, like how she thinks, how she sees you. What about you is it that you're saying, what about you that you're saying or doing that's making her think that you don't really love her, that you're not really genuinely, unconditionally loving her and being there for her, right? That's what the inner cat is about. Let's fast forward a little bit of, can you describe a little bit in terms of what you started doing differently?
Sure. So basically what I started to do was look in towards myself. How was I projecting my person, my being to her?
Stop for a second. Stop for a second.
Yep.
I just want to interrupt you, Jay, because this is so important for guys to understand. The beginning of any marriage transformation begins with exactly what Jay said. Looking at how am I, you said it, by the way, beautifully, in a certain way, you said it better than me, because I get too fancy in the philosophy, and you're like, boom, how am I projecting myself, right? And then I'm gonna like waxing on and on. Like, how am I projecting myself? Am I projecting the real me, or am I doing something that's bringing out the wrong me? And understanding that with pinpoint accuracy, to the detail, is critical. It's literally impossible to turn around a marriage, and you will only make it worse, because a marriage is either getting better or worse, and it never stays where it is. It's either, men think that it could stay okay. Women are smarter; they know it's getting better or worse. They know that. I love the way you said it. It's understand how you project yourself is very important, and understanding that accurately is key. And that's essentially what the inner cat is. So go ahead. I interrupted you because I wanted the guys to understand that is the inner cat concept of knowing, or subconscious communication, of knowing that, like, wow, knowing when I do this, she's going to see this. When I say this, she's going to see this, right? She's going to have this opinion of me. She's going to decide this. This is going to be her conclusion. Okay, go ahead. So you started focusing on how you project yourself.
Yeah, focusing on how I project myself, because when you project that person, I had a mask, I had a veil, and it's self-protection veil.
Let me translate that. He had a veil, just from Australian into English. So no, he said a veil. That's all, like a mask.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like for a moment, I was like, "What's a vial?" I was like, "Oh, right." Because I've been in Melbourne for a year, so I remember a little bit of that. But you got me for a second there. Yeah, and it's, by the way, jokes aside, I mean, we're joking, but it's really intensely serious. And I went through this too in my marriage. We're wearing a veil. We're like you said, a mask. We're like, you're trying to get something across to her, but she doesn't see it. And that could be why she doesn't respect you. That could be why she doesn't not attracted to you. It goes together. And in a marriage, for a woman, for a man could be attracted to a woman even if he doesn't like her. It's just the way it is. But a woman cannot be sexually attracted to a man if she doesn't respect him. She just cannot. So, and when a man is carrying that veil, and he's projecting the wrong, he doesn't even realize it. It's so subconscious. He's like, it's the cat part that we talk about, the inner cat. I'm not going to get into the training here. I have other free videos that explain all this stuff. But like when she feels it's not him, or he's faking, or he's not the person that he used to be, something changed, right?
Yeah.
That's when all your efforts literally go right into the toilet.
Yeah.
It's like
it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you do or what you say. It's not received.
Right.
Not received in the way that it should be, or the true meaning of it.
Very well said.
And the true meaning is not always there, because you have this mask on. So this mask that you wear, it filters your true self. So what comes out is what your wife doesn't want to see.
A lot of guys watching this may not get it, because it sounds advanced, and it is. That's what we're doing. We're sharing this. This is really a behind the scenes look on what a real life marriage transformation looks like. But that's what it is. Like, you could have the best intentions in mind, and just because you love your wife in your heart does not mean it's coming across to her. But let's get to the fun part. Okay, what was the first major thing or like breakthrough you've seen in your marriage after you joined Amazing Marriage Blueprint?
The first major thing that I saw was the way that I was able to come across to my wife.
And how long after you joined did that happen?
Look, not very long. I'd say 2 to 3 weeks.
1 second. I remember something, you had like a 2-hour conversation with her a couple of days after you joined.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I did. Yes. Yeah.
So
you're correct, David. Yeah. No,
okay.
There was a 2-hour conversation that we had, which was very heartfelt, teary, bit of fun. There was a lot of emotion.
A little bit of flirting.
Yeah, absolutely. Which she sent me a text afterwards, saying that she enjoyed the conversation, and enjoyed the flirting, and yeah, it was a major breakthrough.
Cool. So you had that first breakthrough. What did it feel like when you were done?
Elation. I was and relieved, and there was a power to it. There was a personal power that I felt from that. Not a manipulative power towards Nolene, but a personal power to me that I'd managed to, even though only maybe for a brief moment, but I managed to lift that mask up.
For 2 hours.
2 hours.
Right. It's a start. Yeah. But tell us what happened after. That was the first thing. Okay. How did that evolve over the next few weeks?
But basically to something else. We started to make contact a little bit more. So the contact was more frequent, to the point now where it's every single day.
And she's the one breaking the restraining order.
Yes.
So in other words, even if I use this video and we send it out there and the cops come after you because of this video, they're going to come after her too.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure there'll be no double standard there.
All fair in love and war.
Oh God. Wow. This is we laugh and joke inside the program but it's intensely serious at the same time, and sometimes just to balance it out in terms, because you're dealing with sensitive things. Your second marriage, where you're like 52 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. And it's your whole, half of your life has passed, and you're looking at the next 30, 40, God willing, 50, 60 years of your life, living with the woman you love, or her walking away with never even knowing what you had in your heart. It's very, very, very serious. But at the same time, when you know what you're doing and you have a strategy and it's working, you can have fun at the same time and enjoy the process because you're not wasting your effort. So tell us a little bit more about the contact, a little more details, if you will.
Okay, so yeah, there was obviously, it started off with mostly text messages, sending each other little affirmations, to the point of going back over to the house again and, sitting down, having dinner, talking, not about anything in depth, but just trying to keep everything light, to let Nolene see that my mask was coming off and that I was able to show more emotion towards myself and to her. As time's gone on since then, the contact has been more frequent, more phone conversations. I've tried to limit the text messages. Like you pointed out something to me, David, that text messages don't carry a lot of emotion, and sometimes you can get it wrong. You can get it wrong, which I have done.
It's very easy to get it wrong.
It is, and I have made that mistake a couple of times. But as soon as I've realised I've made that mistake, I've given myself and Nolene a little bit of time, rather than pounce on it straight away. Maybe the following morning, there was one instance where my inner cat came out on one of the text messages. I can't remember exactly what was said. But I rang her the following morning, and I just explained to her, I said, look, I am sorry. I was having a bit of a hard day and I shouldn't have taken that out on you, which it was nothing major, but it was just a couple of words that the inner cat sort of jumped in and threw in my mind. And she understood, and everything was fine after that.
So hold on a second. I want to comment so guys can understand some context. You see, when you say his inner cat, he really means subconscious communication. In the program, we say inner cat, but he means to say subconscious communication. It's a reality. It's a subconscious communication part of you, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not. It's like gravity. You don't have to agree with it. It exists.
It's there.
Just don't disrespect it.
Yeah.
If you jump out of a plane with a lot of confidence, but without a parachute, gravity's going to catch up with you. So subconscious communication already exists. We call it inner cat just to help us sometimes simplify the lingo in the
Yeah.
program and the process of the strategy that we teach. But that's what he's talking about. And two more things I want to comment on what you said, Jay. So guys can understand, like he's saying you want to, to be more emotional, to be more connecting. A lot of guys try to do it and they do it in the wrong way. And the reason is they're trying to be connecting, but your connection is coming from logic. It's coming from virtually reading her mind, reading her emotional patterns. It's coming from an understanding and a strategy. It's not just coming from like, express my emotion and just try to express and be empathetic and all. It doesn't work that way. That's pseudoscience. It's not real. It's
fake.
It's fake. And women
fake.
know it, right? It's fake. And it comes from, if I can read her heart, I can read her mind, I can anticipate her next move. Well, then I could express my appropriate emotion for that particular situation. I think it's very critical that guys understand that. You see why I'm saying that, Jay? It's so important.
Absolutely.
Another thing that you said was like, you next day you called her and apologized. The reason why it worked, and the reason why I'm saying this is because for most guys, apologies don't work. And the reason why it works for you is because you now have a foundation. She now has seen a breakthrough. She has seen a transformation. She has seen a change. She's starting to fall in love with you again. And there's a process, the best part of you is coming out. Like, even if, like, let's say she saw the video, like, it's highly unlikely she'll see this video, extremely unlikely, right? But let's say she did. All what she's going to see is that you found a strategy that's going to unlock the best version of you, which is something she already fell in love with 7 years ago. This is not rocket science. This is not manipulation. I didn't teach you how to manipulate her. I just showed you how to become the best Jay you can possibly be. Tap into the part of knowing that she fell in love with to begin with.
Yeah.
So this
manipulation does not work.
It doesn't work, and it doesn't, right? And it doesn't exist.
It doesn't work. It makes you look like an idiot. And at the end of the day, manipulation it doesn't do your own character any good.
But I want to add something to that. That's true. But let's go a step further for a lot of guys to understand this. Manipulation can happen even if you don't mean for it to happen.
Yes.
Okay. How many times, Jay, did you really feel sincere and genuine and loving, and it still came off to her as manipulation?
Too many times that I wouldn't even like to know.
Okay. So that's the point I'm trying to make over here. If most guys don't want to manipulate their wives. Yes, there are some people that want to. Yeah, and it doesn't work. But we're talking about the subconscious part of you will communicate manipulation even if you're sincere. I learned this the hard way. You learned this the hard way. Hundreds of guys have learned this the hard way. That's the way it works. And that's why it's so important to dial in that subconscious part of communication and understand with accuracy, okay, what 5% of me that I'm saying or doing is making her feel that I am manipulating her. That's why it's so critical. Can you give us an update on like where you right now in your marriage? Are you close to moving in together? Are you, to whatever degree you feel comfortable? Has intimacy come back in some level, some connection?
Yes, intimacy did on Easter Sunday, which was basically a 7-year anniversary from when we first met. It sort of shocked us both a little bit.
Always better like that. It's always the best when it's a shock.
Yeah. So we sat outside the following day, and we sort of both agreed it was probably a little too soon, but there was certainly no regrets. No regrets from either of us. Things since then, it's sort of simmered down a bit. But at the same time, I mean, I've been over to the house this last weekend. I was there for Saturday. I went back to my cabin on Saturday night. I was there again on Sunday. 3 days prior to that. So as of last Wednesday, I was over there for dinner, Thursday for dinner, Friday for dinner, Saturday, Sunday, last night again for dinner. With very easy, comfortable communication.
I appreciate you sharing that with guys, because that's part of the real issue that's going on in marriages, or the real issue that is not going on in real marriages, right? The missing intimacy. No one got married just to be friends. No one got married to be roommates. No one got married to be life partners. This is not a business transaction. Intimacy is the core of a person's life. It's a place where they find the fullest and deepest expression of who they are on a physical, emotional, psychological, and a spiritual level. And if that's missing, the part of you is dead. A part of you is dying if it's not there. I appreciate you sharing that, because it really gives guys hope that they can turn around their marriage as well.
Yeah. Look, something that you said that there's two people in a marriage, but it only takes one to turn things around, is so true. I mean, you listen to counselors and things on the internet, and other guys, and it takes two to tango, and you both got to. No, it doesn't. It takes one person, and it's not going to be the wife. It's not going to be. It's going to be the husband. The husband has to step up. The husband has to turn things around. The husband has to look after his wife. And to do that, he needs to understand himself and understand his wife.
Of course, it takes two to keep the marriage, going beautifully. You're married to a person. You're not married to yourself. But to jumpstart it, to get that process going, to create that foundation, as long as you're married to the right woman, right? That's the precondition. You got to have that, that must be met. Then it takes one. It takes one. As long as you have the right woman, and yes, then she will reciprocate it and build this beautiful. I'm happy, man. I'm really happy for you. I remember one of our first conversations. It may have been possibly on the orientation call. I don't recall if it was an orientation call or one of the live Q&As where you said, it's the intimacy. Like, she just wants to live. I remember we recorded it, and you're like, she just wants to have this relationship with me, which is almost like a long-term, long-distance relationship, which is bizarre. And I don't want to be like that. I'm living here, she's living there. And I'm really so happy we did this interview, because I found out things here that I, just updates that I didn't know necessarily. And man, good on you, mate. Right.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I did. Like I said, I did a year in Australia, so I picked up a little bit of that culture. I loved it, actually. Can you tell us a little bit of, have you seen, yes or no, most guys see impact of their marriage transformation within their other parts of their family, with their kids? In your case, you have big kids. I wonder if you have I think you have only one child, if I recall correctly.
I've got a daughter, and I've got a stepson with Nolene, who's 8 years old, and my relationship with him, especially in probably the last 2 to 3 weeks, has just gone from leaps and bounds.
Can you give me some beautiful details?
Look, we're high-fiving each other. He comes up, and when I get there, he comes up and gives me a hug. Nolene at one stage turned around and said to him that you can call him Jay. You don't have to call him Dad. You can call him Jay. This is
a while ago. This is when you came into the blueprint. You told me this.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Now he calls me Dad.
Did you think she told him, or he just figured it out?
No, I'm his dad. I've been with him since he was 18 months old.
Wow.
So
that's so nice.
Yeah, and last night he was talking about us having a boys' day out going fishing. So yeah, there's the relationship that I have with him is a lot closer, closer than it's actually ever been. Nolene, albeit she hasn't said anything, I know she sees it.
She doesn't have to say anything. You know it, and she knows it.
Doesn't have to say anything.
No,
she knows.
No need for it. Essentially, what's happening over here, it doesn't matter, because the matters as a result is that you have this beautiful relationship with your son, and he has a dad, and it's important for you, but it's even more important for him to have a dad. And he's 8, and you have a lot of experience to teach him, a lot of wisdom in this chaotic world. It can only use a strong dad. But what's happening is that kids are very, very smart intuitively. Subconscious communication, your kid wouldn't understand a word of what subconscious communication means.
Nope.
but he feels everything of it. Kids feel, you
Yeah.
come into a room, the kids will feel every part of you, every single part, especially the parts you don't want.
Yeah.
And they could sense it, your energy, your joy, your impatience, your confidence, your depression, your everything. I mean, there's like 100, 200, 300 different parts of subconscious communication. I'm using just a couple of them so you guys can have a little bit of a concept what we're talking about. It's a joy to watch someone go through the program. It's a joy to continue to get updates, because what happens is you learn the program in 3 weeks. And I gotta say, you did a fantastic job. Like you're down under. You really couldn't join virtually all the Q&As. And because of the time difference, it was like 2:00 in the morning when we were doing it, 2:00
Yeah.
your time.
Yeah.
But you dived into the training. You reached out for help. You messaged, whatever you needed to get. You asked for help. You took feedback. You took guidance. You were honest. You were transparent. But you learned it in just a couple of weeks. But then as you continue to apply it, it's sort of like, you can learn how to lose weight in a couple of weeks, but you won't lose all the weight you want to lose in a couple of weeks. Usually take a couple of months. But you got a major result within a couple of days, and a couple of weeks later, a bigger breakthrough with intimacy. And then it's beautiful to see that result continuing with your son. And, God willing, it's going to continue with the rest of your family as long as you continue to apply the basic components of the program.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot to learn from you, and I appreciate you taking the time.
If I could just say something,
Yeah.
I mean, look, as you go through life, there's life experiences and turmoils and things like that. You carry those tools, you add those tools to your cachet as you go along, to your toolbox. You've got to get to a point where you understand that those tools no longer work. You've got to get rid of those tools and apply new tools to get along in life. We upgrade our cars, we upgrade our phones, but we don't upgrade ourselves. And that in itself is a life blocker. It blocks us. It blocks us from advancing, from moving forward. And people, guys especially, we get stuck in that zone. And if you don't upgrade your tools for the job at hand, you'll be stuck.
Yeah, I think like the mother of all tools is to know when your tools are not working.
Yeah.
Like the biggest tool, like we talk a lot about a toolkit in Amazing Marriage Blueprint, right? The ultimate toolkit is to know, don't use the hammer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because you only got a hammer doesn't mean you can use it for everything. Right. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you giving that perspective. And, this ended up being longer than I thought it was going to be, because it was so interesting and it was so much to learn.
Look, at the moment, I mean, I've learned so much. I really, really absorbed the journey that I've had at the moment. Like really absorbed it. And I implore all guys that do this course to take it and do the absolute best, do the work.
You did it. You were a great example. Yeah.
Yeah. Do the work. Sorry, I get a bit emotional here.
That's
don't rest on your laurels. Don't do it. There is so much to be gained in every aspect of your life. Every relationship that you'll have with your kids, your parents, your wife, people that walk in the door to your business, customers, your workmates. There is so much to be gained out of this. And the understanding that you will get about yourself, just unbelievable, life-changing.
Yeah. And you did the work. Like what you're saying is exactly what you did. You didn't rest on your laurels. It was stacked against you, quite frankly. When I saw somebody from Australia joined, to me, I didn't realize it was Tasmania right away. To me, it's the same thing. Australia and Tasmania, you're in the other side of the ocean, finished, the same place, But to me, it was stacked. It was like I knew you're gonna struggle to get to the Q&As, and I was like, wow, I hope this guy really sucks the marrow out of this system. I hope he gets the most out of this. And you did. You really, like, what you're saying is exactly what you did. You showed up. You really did the work. Man, you did the work. And yeah, I'm happy for you. I'm really happy for you.